Yo, what's going on, guys? So today we are going to be reacting to Joe Budden, obviously Joe Budden podcast on Patreon. It's a Patreon exclusive clip. It is on the 3Ds episode. Oh my god, I look so like pale when the white comes. But but yeah, we're gonna be reacting to the Malice in the Palace, or Malice at the Palace portion of it. I just watched the entire Malice at the Palace documentary yesterday, the one on Netflix, the new one. And I made a video on that, so you should be able to catch that above here pretty shortly. And it should be in the description box below as well. That's just going to be going over how I feel about Malice at the Palace from my own personal perspective. And now I'm going to be reacting to how Joe Budden feels about it and freshly watching it. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Remember, we are doing a 100 subscriber giveaway. You have to comment on a video in order to be involved. Just comment on any video you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a comment by random on a random video. I know I have quite a few videos, but I'm going to look at the ones with the most comments. And I am going to select someone that is subscribed to me. So I'm going to do this with a random picker. So I have to be able to see your name. If I can't see your name, I'm not going to be able to choose you. So, yeah, so if you want to be involved in the $10 Amazon gift card giveaway, you have to be subscribed to the channel. And let's get into the episode. So please like, comment, subscribe. It helps the algorithm out tremendously, and it will get me in front of more eyes, and I really appreciate that. So here we go.
In the Palace. I thought we discussed this, but we must have done that amongst ourselves. I watched it. This came out a few weeks ago. Really put a different light and a new perspective on it. I don't know if time helped there, or I'm sure time helped there. Because even how I view it, very different from how I viewed it then. I was in the studio when this happened. I was in one of them studios where they had the games. You know, they had the game on the big screen in there. Right. So I was blown away at the time of this because I had never seen anything like it. And much like Ron Artest, I was confused afterward. Like, how is this going to be handled? Like, what's the punishment here? Is there punishment? I'm sure there will be. You're fighting on national television. I think they also mentioned shortly after this, David Stern invoked that fucking dress code policy shit on the bench.
Yep,
yeah, but at
true.
the time, I might not have been so in tune with the connection there.
No, I remember this shit like it was yesterday. I feel about it the same way I felt then.
Those fans deserved it.
I looked at it like the entitlement that the fans have, where they could just do whatever the fuck they want to do, and because they pay for tickets, they look at it like you're supposed to grin and bear it. It's like when we tell the people at the hospital, nigga, I pay your salary, or we tell cops I pay your salary, or we tell any person, we talked about service a couple pods ago. No, I'm just saying we talked about service a couple pods ago, right? When we were talking about the lack thereof.
Right.
And people feel like just a certain level of entitlement. You know what I mean?
If you guys want me to go over their topic or their conversation on services, let me know. I was thinking about doing that, but I wasn't too sure. But everything Ish is saying, of course, like, I don't know why. I generally agree with a lot of the things that Ish feels. I don't agree entirely with some of the stuff he says, but like with this specifically, I absolutely think he's right. I do not think when you go to a game as a fan, you should have the right to be able to do what you want. I expound on it tremendously in the Malice at the Palace video specifically. But long story short, if you're a fan, you go into an event with other people playing, they're still people. So if you do something to that person, you should have to deal with the repercussions as if you guys are both on the same terms as people. It's weird that just because someone's a celebrity or because someone is an athlete or something, they're held on a different standard when it comes to that. I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. So, like, when I watched Malice at the Palace, the doc, and it showed more footage, those fans deserved it. All of them. All of them that I saw got hit, I thought they deserved it.
I'm saying we talked about the fans, and they feel a certain level of entitlement. It's the same shit. Fam, you threw a drink on somebody, you're supposed to get punched in the face. If you hit somebody with some popcorn, you're supposed to... We saw this a lot in the NBA this year. Yeah. Somebody from the Madison
Ice feels the same way, too.
Like, yo, you're supposed to get punched in your fucking face, my nigga.
Russell.
And again,
Russell Westbrook dealt with that a lot.
Yeah, all the time. And so again, my thing is, we always look at the response, right? We really never look at what initiated the response.
Right.
And so, and not for nothing, that be that passive aggressive shit with white people, right? They'll pick with you and start picking with you because they don't come from the environments we come from. We know in our hood, if you say the wrong shit, you cross the gun line. Something could happen.
And I'm gonna say from personal experience, well, for a long time in my life, I never felt this way when I was younger because I grew up in there's a special part of Ohio that has more Hispanic people than anywhere else. More specifically, Puerto Rican people. The city of Lorraine is known for the amount of Puerto Rican people that they have. It's literally called Little Puerto Rico. Joey Diaz was on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about it once. It's a known place because this is where like a factory town that was booming during the factory era. All that kind of stuff. So when he says these kinds of things, at first I didn't feel this growing up because like a lot of the people here that are white, black, or Spanish, they're kind of used to dealing with other people that are that as well. I'm not saying everyone here is like that because it's still Ohio. But it's a lot different than other pockets of Ohio from my experience. I lived in Columbus for a couple years, and what Ish is talking about is what I experienced. I experienced some weird things happening, like people walking up to me. This one guy specifically walked up to me, told me he was a veteran, and told me I was taking his job, and told me that I needed to get $20 out of an ATM for him when I was at a work event. I'm like, just because I was dressed nice, he wanted me to give him money, and I thought that was weird. I was respectful to him, and then he started being disrespectful, and I literally started laughing. I had a friend there that started trying to approach him. A woman, she was trying to go up to him and say, like, "Sir, that's rude." He had crutches on. He was sitting on a bench, and he just approached me and was attempting to tell me I took his job, even though both of my parents are Army vets. So it's like when he's coming at me as a veteran, I'm like, both my parents are Army vets, and all of us are American citizens now. My dad has a green card because my dad came from Panama. My mom is from Puerto Rico. So when I have people say those kinds of things to me, or when I hear those things, I think it's comical. And when Ish is talking about how they just don't understand the difference in lifestyle and difference of like, in suburban areas, you can't say certain things. You can't walk up to people and act certain kinds of ways that you see these kinds of videos, or even when I was in Columbus, certain things that I would see people say to each other, it's just shocking. You can't get away with certain things in certain areas because you're going to be held to repercussions. It's not like that. It's not like that with commonly amongst more white people compared to other cultures.
Right.
You tell somebody SMD.
There's less of a violence of something. There's less of a threat of something actually happening. If you're in Spanish or black cultures, you're going to deal with some kind of aggression if you say certain things. Somebody's going to be more prone to step to you or do something to you.
Yeah, you SMD somebody, or you tell somebody the wrong shit. Like, yo, even in the Locks and Dipset, they said, yo, they made it a rule. Like, yo, we could talk. Don't invite nobody to your privates, man.
Which also the aftermath of that battle is still,
especially because it's New York,
outside in the streets.
Yeah,
it's still playing Money, Power, Respect like it's brand new. Yo, they're playing the Dipset records as intros to Locks records.
That's crazy,
bro. I was in the spot with Joe a couple weeks ago. I told him, I said, yo,
this shit don't hit that hard. I was there.
No. I'm talking about another time. Yeah. I was like, yo, Benjamin's is the song of the summer.
That was a funny take, but it's pretty funny. It's funny even if it's true or not true. It's funny. I'm hearing Benjamin's like, well, whatever. It's fine.
But, no, again, like that passive aggressive shit, like, yo, where somebody will stop you and just start fucking with you, and the second that you get ticked off and punch them in the face, you are now the aggressor.
Right.
And you've been following me.
Right.
I'm punching your face. Leave me alone. And now they take the victim role. That's what happened. They're interviewing the guy, and he's like, yo, how'd you feel when you threw the drink and Ron Artest ran by you and started punching somebody else? He's laughing.
He said, I should have stuck my foot out earlier.
I should have stuck my foot out sooner and tripped him.
That guy looked racist.
He's laughing, saying
ridiculous.
Like, it was a lot of racial undertones in the shit. Like,
fam, he don't realize how many people he fucked up. Like that's what I took from it.
Lives got affected by this.
And the
Hell yeah.
mental aspect of it, which I never looked into until I actually watched this. Like you hear Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson, like this shit fucked
The
with them.
lasting effects. Reggie Miller's crying. He never won a ring. And he's like, yo, I think this was our best chance to ever win a ring. And because they got suspended for the season, we didn't aspire to where we didn't go to where we were
That was a good
aspiring to
team.
go to. Fam, whoever did the doc, I think it was amazing how they set the tone. Like they set the tone with Jermaine O'Neal sitting there with the fucking woods behind him, pocket square, sounding all articulate, and to
Because that's one way to get me to not watch your doc. Like if the background of the people that's speaking is not looking like that shit,
and
it's not looking presentable.
we giving you anti-thug because y'all.
Sorry, that actually like froze. Give me 1 second.
Kept tattooing thug, thug,
Right,
thug,
right.
thug,
And then they also showed all of the nightly news
calling them thugs.
anchors talking about it, calling them thugs.
Calling
See,
them thugs.
and that's where my twisted brain comes into effect. Y'all are right. They calling all these niggas thugs, and we heard their testimony and how they felt about it, right? When it came to putting that team together, though, Donnie Walsh might have gotten a pass.
He did.
Now, they did talk about, he said, hey, I tried. I went for it. It was Reggie's last year to Dale Davis. We loved him here, but it was a young player coming in, trying to put together a team, and it was tough dudes. Was there a chance for some shit to go down? Sure, but I'm trying to win it. Seemed like that just gets a pass because that was the line of work he was in. GM, I'm putting the team together.
But Joe, with this scenario specifically, I understand where people are coming at trying to put a little bit more put a little bit more on the guy that actually put the team together. However, I don't think it's entirely his fault. That's specifically your job. And when he's saying that the team could be explosive and all of that, he's talking after the fact. Maybe he did believe that at the time, but I didn't see any footage of him saying that at the time. That's after the fact, and he's still trying to win a ring. If that event never happened, he wouldn't be getting in trouble for putting that team together. So it's like, I don't think it's fair to hold him to that fire. I don't think that's fair, personally. If you disagree, comment below.
I don't know if it should have. I never thought about that until I watched this. It's almost like now, right? Like, you see somebody tweet something real stupid, like with an insensitive word or attitude or just anything, and they get killed.
Murdered.
Like the Wild Wild West Twitter. Back in the day, 10 years ago, Twitter.
Yeah.
Hey, humans are getting killed for what they tweeted. But it wasn't until years after that Twitter actually added some standards and words that you can't use and hate speech and policy. Like, don't just hold the users accountable or the athletes accountable. There's some other people that play a large part in this.
We do the same thing with rap music.
The police play the biggest part.
Somebody, fuck.
They weren't there.
No, it was a topic the other day
the
that said
candle.
that basically, it's 4 major labels or some shit in rap.
Yes.
You know, it's not my bag.
Yes.
So, but really, one of them is responsible for 85% of the rap music that comes out.
Universal Music
And they
Group.
said basically
Yo, when I'm trying to make reaction videos, UMG is on so many of these artists. I was shocked because I knew Universal was big, but this shit's true.
we are crucifying these artists for the topics, but we not crucifying the engines that are pushing these topics.
Facts.
So now, if you say something about the LGBTQ plus community, if you say something about the Jewish community, if you say something about the Asian community, right? They push back. Right? They push back. I remember even on the Benjamins, we talked about the Benjamins. I remember they was like stack chips like Hebrews. They took the Hebrews out that shit. Like they got to take that shit out. With us, you can say anything you want to say about us and there's no pushback. All the time. It don't matter how detrimental it is to our survival.
It's sad, but
it don't
true.
matter how crucial it is to our communities. Nobody gives a fuck. Right? But when you do that with other people, they push back. It's right here.
It's because the other people that you named, the other groups, unfortunately, they have something that we don't have. And that's organization.
Money and economic power.
Yeah. But the organization itself just can lead to so much more. Like, we can't get on the same page together with anything.
I agree.
You see a bunch of us trying to stand together for something that becomes, how he become the face of.
Look at Larry Brown.
Why is he the one? Why is everybody interviewing him?
Mm-hmm.
Can you stop turning your mouth on the mic?
But it becomes, why is everybody interviewing him? Why? You start worrying about the individual members instead of
The collective.
The collective. Instead of our goal here. Our goal is bigger than all of us.
That's true.
But we get lost of, he's getting ahead of us. And he's doing, we watching the next man instead of moving as a unit. I see it happen all the time. Hell, you want to get real deep, they intentionally put people in there to create that diversion amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
This has happened. Anytime we start getting organized, they have to break that up.
Infiltrate.
They will infiltrate and break that shit up.
And this is literally historical. Most of the time when people say this, they say it because of their experiences and what they see. But this is genuinely historical. If you look at the history of before slavery was officially here and the guy that instituted slavery, that guy specifically was talking about splitting up anyone that had any kind of complexion to their skin. Any black person, talking about splitting them up, and depending on how light or how dark they are, growing divisions amongst them and trying to make sure that they cannot organize. Excuse me. That was literally the plan of the owners, of the slave owners. If you look at the speech, I don't remember the guy's name, so I don't want to get this wrong and sit here and try to search this. But there's a guy, one of the people that brought slavery here. He talks about how he wants to make it so all black people of all colors pretty much hate each other for every little reason. He doesn't want them to organize. He wants to put it in their minds that they hate each other. That's why he had the different, not him, but that's why there was different levels of slaves and stuff, because it was a way of growing division and hatred amongst them. But he talked about putting black people in this mindset for over 400 years. In the 1700s, I believe, is when he said this. This is what the man was saying. So this sickness goes far back. All the kind of stuff that you see in the media when it's portraying, especially with, I noticed especially in sports, anytime sport athletes decide to talk or speak about any kind of public issue, all the media that's white typically tells them to shut up and sit down. Well, how many other mediums do people of that culture get to speak? How many times do people that may have been very poor growing up or have lived in very rough areas, how else would they get an opportunity to speak if everything else is ran by people that aren't allowing them in? So they're using the platform that they have to speak. I understand people might not like the medium that they do it in, but it is what it is. You got to be okay with people sharing how they feel and trying to better things in general and people. So I don't know. That's how I feel about that.
Heartbeat. No, we can't let y'all mobilize, because if y'all are too big, y'all are too powerful together. Yep. We have to keep you separate. We got to keep you beefing with each other, because if you stop beefing with each other, y'all are going to realize that
we in the same boat and get some organization, and then
we not really the enemy. And we have a common enemy.
Historically.
But that's a whole different talk for a different day.
Even on the floor, they still hitting them with drinks and shit. Come on, man.
Fam, the police ran out there and ran up on Reggie Miller.
About the Mace Ron Artest.
Well, that was the other thing about this. They highlighted how there weren't but so many police there.
Three.
If any. Yeah.
20,000 people.
3 police when both of these teams had a rivalry going on. Tough matchup the year before. That's a mistake. That's a mistake that don't fall on players, how this event is staffed.
And they were nowhere to be found. They were nowhere to be found for a huge part of the melee. There were no cops.
It was in the back asleep.
Fam, when you have that many people attacking you, potentially,
a building holds 20,000 people.
Can't expect those people to just sit there and be civil and whatever. And they're getting things thrown at them.
Post 9/11. All security changed 9/11. You got 3 cops in here?
Good point.
And,
it's planned.
And to take it a step further than that.
Especially because the previous year they had that game that was so explosive.
Yeah. Plenty of way smarter basketball minds in attendance than myself. But watching this, if there's one thing that I'm not going to let happen with 13 seconds left in the game, if there's 2 people I'm going to make sure don't even look at each other, It's Ron Artest
And Ben Wallace.
and Ben Wallace.
Especially based on what happened last year. Now, I'm going to say this, too. Jamal Tinsley doesn't get... Because, they said he was basically the joker to put the battery in the back.
Yep. Yo,
He deserved...
now you go get your foul.
Yeah. Yo, go get your foul back, my nigga.
On Ben Wallace.
And wouldn't throw no punches. Like, yo, go get your foul
It's
back.
always one of them, though.
Yeah,
it's always
it is.
one of them.
It is.
It's always one little one who got something to say. But when it go down, you can't find them.
And they said that, I didn't know this either until watching the doc. Ben Wallace's sister or mother had just passed. And so he already was
dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean, a powder keg waiting to explode. I didn't know that either. But again, they broke the melee up. Everything was settled. The dust was settled. A fan throws a fucking juice from way across the stadium and hits the man. That was a good ass throw too.
That was a good throw.
That shit
that was
nice.
that was a
shit hit
good
him
throw.
right in the he's laying on the scorer's table.
Boom.
And he's like, yo, I'm already in therapy. And they say, yo, count.
And salute to him
two.
for that.
Word.
Salute to him
In
for
the
that.
middle of the melee.
Salute to everybody that put this doc together for highlighting it. For highlighting
Look at
it.
him. He's chilling. He's laying on the table. He said, yo, I'm taught to count. Like, you catch yourself in
And
the
do
moment.
you know, and Ish, not to cut you off, they actually spoke on that him laying on the scorer's table was a problem.
No, it was
Not
odd. It was odd.
It was odd, but you don't realize, that's why it was good to hear it from him. Nigga, me laying on the scorer's table is saving this shit right now.
You could lay on the floor. I understand what you're saying. I don't think he's right with this. I explained in a lot more detail how I feel. Ron Artest could have laid down on the ground. I don't think the fan has the right to throw the beer at him or juice or whatever. Him throwing that juice, he deserves to get his ass beat. So Ron Artest go in the stands, I have no problem with that. Like, you do something like that, you get what you deserve. But Ron Artest could have laid down on the ground. Like, he doesn't have to lay down right there. If he's driving and he gets frustrated, he can't just stop and lay down. He has to get to some destination, or he has to park. So it's like, I understand, but everything's situational.
Y'all know me. Y'all know how I am. Y'all better be glad I laid on this scorer's table.
Look, the dude that threw the thing punches Ron Artest in the face.
Man, this.
You know what I didn't think of either? Like, I didn't think of, I never paid any mind to how it strained the relationships. Like, Jermaine O'Neal still appeared to be tight at a few things. And forget about being tight. It felt like he was still carrying guilt.
And Jackson.
Feeling like he jeopardized Reggie
Miller's joint. It humanized them. What it did was humanize them. Again, how they started off the whole setting was Jermaine O'Neal, who's people don't know is mad articulate. I think he was at one point the president of the NBA Players Association. So you're not talking about a dumb black thug kid. You understand what I'm saying?
But that's how you talk about him,
Never
the
went
media.
to college. That's mad articulate, successful businessman, et cetera, et cetera. And then they had Reggie Miller sitting there with his V-neck on, with his tie. So we're going to give you two articulate black men so we can lead the narrative in a positive light from the very, very beginning. Whoever did this doc was amazing.
It made me respect Reggie Miller's final year, like his send-off more. It made me respect him even more. I remember when the Celtics had their big three, their championship team that everybody knew was going to win the chip, and they were trying to recruit bench players, and they asked Reggie to come out of retirement, and he said no. Even though he knew he could probably get a ring. Like, my respect level just as a Knicks fan just went all the way up for Reggie Miller. This was a real good doc. I was mad it was so short.
How long is it?
Hour and 10.
Hour maybe?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, roughly.
Hour and 10 minutes.
They covered it
It was a
all.
quick watch.
It was good.
They
It was
got to
good.
it. I was glad to see it. And
I'll tell you this.
Oh,
Steven Jackson has jumped into my top probably 5 favorite athletes ever.
No, I fuck with
Period.
Steven Jackson all day.
I like Steven Jackson.
But I mean, I fucked with him, but just
The way he presented himself in the doc, and the way, not even just the doc, but he's so real all the time. He was consistent. Even when he was younger to the version you saw when he's older, he's not trying to front or anything. And he's like, we're in this together. We're a team. We're family. I love that.
even afterwards, he was like, look, Jermaine O'Neal went up there and kissed ass and got his suspension reduced. I'm not doing that. He was like, look, my man's got into it. I showed up.
And I'll do it again.
And I'll do it again.
So I'm not apologizing.
I'm not sorry for that.
That's the kind of friend you want to have around. That's the kind of friend you want to have. You want a Steve Jackson in your life.
Like, I fuck with that. Like, he was just like, yo, we ride together. This is what it is. This will come with it.
Nigga, somebody they was throwing chairs at them. All types of shit. Like it was bad. But
It seemed like so long ago, right? Like, what is this? 03?
04.
17 years.
Wow.
It is a long time ago.
This is another one of the moments.
Even look
that
at
I
these
wish the
highlights. Look at the
timeline-
footage. Look like the VHS is
Cloudy.
dusty.
Cloudy.
This shit looked like there wasn't no laptops out. Like,
They always ask what, like they were like, oh, what are some moments you wish Twitter and social media was around for? This is number one on my list.
Yeah, I don't think they would have done this because the public outcry would have been so loud. Like when they were talking to David Stern, he sounded like Massa. Like they were like, "Oh well, was the vote unanimous to suspend him for the rest of the season?" He said, "Yeah, 1-0," because he was the only voter. Like that, it came to him to suspend these kids for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm
thought that was
saying? And
sick.
then they had all of the commentators calling them thugs,
rest in
calling
peace,
them hood.
David Stern. He ran it a little
Tight.
iron fist.
And
Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
so.
He had a little Goodell in him.
You know what happened though?
Yeah, LeBron.
No, yeah. No, I was about to say Michael Jordan and the bigger stars in the league shied away from political shit. Every single time they would bring some political shit to Michael Jordan, he would say, I'm taking the fifth. I'm pleading the fifth. I'm pleading the fifth. I'm pleading the fifth. It might cost me sponsorships. I'm pleading the fifth. We didn't really recognize our power back then.
Yeah,
LeBron and them
'Cause that's a
taking their shit
disservice
yo, I was in the
long-term.
Staples the other day. What's this pizza shit he owns? Blaze Pizza. They got them shits all in the Staples. Like that's his shit. Like yo, they are taking their futures by their own hands, and Michael Jordan and them wouldn't do that. And so it gave David Stern the power, whereas what's Adam Silver?
Adam Silver.
He don't have the power that David Stern had because the players have recognized, nigga, we are the league.
And not only that though, like with David Stern, the face of the league in a good portion of that was AI. Stern, everybody knows Stern and AI. AI
Allen Iverson, for those of you that don't know.
was the exact opposite of what he wanted the league to look like.
The clothing shit was based on
not just
Allen Iverson.
the clothing, the tattoos, the attitude, the jewelry,
braids, the braids,
the
yeah.
culture,
The influencing
the
of other players.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
That's true.
So it was a lot of. Luckily, AI wasn't a winner for Stern. When I say that, like if he was a championship player,
It would have been a problem.
this could go different.
It's nothing that
Yeah,
you would've
that's
been able
true.
to say.
You know, AI
That's
was the
very
one
true.
trying to put out a rap album. Stern stopped that. You know, it was a lot of that. Like I always jokingly say, Chris Paul is who they wanted Allen Iverson to look like.
Yeah,
Meaning
clean cut, short
you know,
hair.
always saying the right thing, never in anything. If he looked like that, his career goes differently. But that's a different topic. But I'm just saying with David Stern, he got the power because the person that was the face, or I won't say the face, but like the most popular at that time, one of the most popular at that time wasn't a winner. So he was able to keep that.
No,
I
I
think
think
power with that too.
I
man.
think it went back to what you said, the organization, right? Like if after this they suspend Jo, they suspend Steven Jackson, they suspend Ron Artest. If the powerful jokers in the league, because around this time it was Allen Iverson, Reggie Miller, Paul Pierce. If they say, "Yo, we not playing," it puts the power back in the players' hands.
Right.
At that point,
Right.
you gotta find me. It's cool. We not playing. Y'all got to bring in an independent arbitrator to make these decisions. David Stern shouldn't be responsible for making these decisions. And they interviewed Stephen A. Smith, and he said that. He said typically when things like this happen in sports, there's an independent arbitrator that comes in that's non-biased that'll investigate all the facts
Right.
and come up with a determination. David Stern took it upon himself to do that. You follow me? And so it took the power from the players.
and everybody fell in line.
And everybody fell in line.
Well, let me shoot David Stern some bail, or try to at least. He was tasked with something real different back then, which was, how do I get more money into the league? How do I get more TV deals? How do I make us more marketable?
He did take the league to
more.
He did.
He did.
He did.
He did it. He
Yeah.
100% did.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Adam Silver took the baton and did even more, and was a little more forward thinking, a little more player friendly. I'm well documented how I feel about Adam Silver, but the league is in a good place.
It is.
The league,
A great
the league is in a
space.
good
And
place.
y'all know I'm an AI guy, so I always had like a thing against David
How would
Stern
we know?
for that. Yeah, right. How would you know? But the league would not be where it is today if it wasn't for David Stern. Like him, he was the bridge that took
played
it.
a part.
No. He took it there, bro. He took it there. He took it to an international.
He played a part. I think just the sport shit was so pro wide. I mean, in Milwaukee, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm
Buck
sorry.
said
terms of sporting games, of course, Kaepernick with the knee. Who the hell want to be taped in the privacy in their own home, especially by the escort?
Okay, so it looks like that's the end of this clip. So yeah, that is how the JBP cast feels about Malice at the Palace, and a little bit of insight on how I feel and explanation behind what they're saying and just the whole situation. So if you guys enjoy this video, if you guys like this kind of thing, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me get in front of more eyes. Every single like matters tremendously. So thank you for your time, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.